live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening and welcome back to a very overdue episode of the Wolves Football Podcast. Apologies it's been so long. Everyone has just, including us as well, I've been the worst for it, just a ridiculous amount of commitment. So welcome into everyone who's just joining us. Welcome into those listening back on Spotify as well. We got a packed show tonight. We've got a lot to discuss. Sack watch, ban watch, relegation watch, Vincent's hand watch. Lots of watches tonight. Might as well be one of those watch distributors or whatever you call it. These are the best ones, Mr. Julio Leshy. But let's welcome in our guest for tonight. Julio, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, good. Been a busy few weeks for me. I'm about to go into my own little lockdown. You know, I've got exams coming next month, so going into my whole training camp, you know, no this, no PlayStation, no that. Just got my new channel up and running. Really enjoyed, I spoke to Adam Matic earlier this week and I really enjoyed that conversation with him. So yeah, it's going well at the moment. It's going well.
Fantastic. That's what we love to hear. Make sure to sub to the Red Brew review as well. I'll check the link in the description later on. But Reece, how are we doing, bud?
I'm doing fine, actually. I'm doing fine. I'm just here kicking back before I retire.
Reece is retiring. Good. Yes.
Good.
Kind of. I exited every single football group chat I'm in on WhatsApp today, so I made that conscious decision. So.
Wow, fair. How many did you have? Wow.
About 5, and they were all people that myself and Julio know. I've decided to walk away from them, so
You did it.
Yeah, I exited all the group chats. Yeah, I'm done.
Bold and interesting there.
No, to be fair, it's not a personal at anyone. It's just, you know, when you sell out, obviously you need to move on. So I've absolutely decided that. And to be fair, they've already messaged me asking me to appear on shows tonight, and they've been left on unread. So it's just not happening. It's just that I think purely my commitments and where I want to be is here and the Weekly Steel Chair only. So I've decided as of now pretty much I'm never going to appear on any other channel ever again. Julio's obviously an exception. Doug's an exception, but like what I mean is like anything else within a group of people that I know, never again. I think I'm at the point now where it's not worth it.
You just can't be asked with it anymore, can you?
No, and it's why I'm changing my channel name, because it's linked to them anyway. So my channel, to be fair, originated from there. It's going, so like that's going to get changed. I've already got a new name, so I may as well put it on screen now. Nice. I suppose because it's already in my edits, so I may as well do it. So as of 2025, my channel will be called that.
Love it.
Black Rose Wrestling. So that explains your WhatsApp picture today. I did notice the change. I was thinking, where's he going with this? I should have seen that one coming.
Yep.
Any particular reason for Black Rose? Any meaning behind it, if you don't mind me asking, or just?
Well, there is actually a pro wrestler called Black Rose, but it's nothing to do with them, to be fair. It's just I really do like black roses. I like the symbol of the black roses have. Obviously, a black rose is a symbol of loss of innocence. A black rose is a symbol of loss of perpetuity and a loss of truth. So for me, it fits. And for me, it fits right. So it stands well to me. So everything's changing. Like my whole setup's going to change. I'm just waiting to get past Christmas. And then that's when everything will happen. So getting a whole new intro, new layouts, the lot, and That's the end it for people. You know what I mean? Like they're done. Yeah, I mean I'm alright with
Loving
that.
it.
Goku's cool. Like there will be parts of Dragon Ball that is actually part of my new layout. Like there's some things you will see that's coming that stands true to me as a wrestling fan, a nerd, and a geek. Everything's going to be transpired into one, and next year's going to be bigger and better for me. And I'm cutting people out, so it's time to just carve people aside. Sounds cruel, and I'm a cruel human, so I don't care.
At the end of the day, the thing you'll remember, bud, is 2025, new year, fresh start, and
Yeah.
sounds like you got to do what you got to do, and honestly, bring it on. And welcome into this legend, Mr. Douglas Horn. How you doing, buddy? Look, this is beginning to look to. Oh my god, I just completely butchered it.
Don't say it, because then you'll become a Liverpool fan, and we know that's when you're compromised.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, who's looking forward to Christmas? It's all about the Gavin and Stacey special at the end of the day. But aside from the greatest,
no, it's about. Sorry, Nathan. It's about the EastEnders Christmas special.
Not really.
No chance. It's all
enough.
Yes, it is.
We already.
You guys are just not doing Christmas right, okay? But that's okay.
We already know what's going to happen on this special, and we all know that Cindy Beale. I don't even watch EastEnders. That's how I know what's going to happen. We already know that Cindy Beale's affair is going to be exposed again, and she'll leave. Job done. Special over. Oh.
It was aged incredibly, to be fair.
For 285 subscribers, Julio, you can't defend this.
No, I can't. I'm happy to hold my hands up on screen.
You're finished.
Genuinely.
What's up, Catherine? Good seeing you. You're finished, Julio. But congratulations, you've only done one stream, technically. One stream, and you're at nearly 300 subscribers. How you paid for that, I don't know, but fair play.
Wow. Okay. Just because I surpassed you does not mean you can probably.
Oh wow! You're actually gonna do that? Wow, you seen that, Nathan? He's me actually congratulating him, and he's actually doing this.
You came for me. No, you came for me and accused me of paying for subscribers. Okay.
I believe in the term joke. Thank you. I wouldn't do that to you. There's some people I know that have bought their followers and subscribers, by the way, but I've kept quiet.
Are you gonna speak soon with no filter? Are you waiting for the NDAs to run out?
I don't sign anything unless I'm fully read over it. So trust me, I've not signed anything. But I know a few people that have bought subscribers, bought followers, and their downfall is coming.
We will be there.
Oh yeah, we will. We will
absolutely be there. But aside from fresh starts in 2025, it has been a week or two, but we're going to get straight onto it. We have had two more managerial casualties, and we will be getting on to Manchester City very shortly in what we can only describe as sack watch at the moment, even though I am fairly confident it's not happening. But
it's very quiet in my house at the moment, if you catch my drift.
Reece, I bet you're lapping that up right now.
Oh yeah, Man United are that shit that even my parents can't say anything because their football team is pish. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. 1 win in 12. Hold that.
We absolutely will. But we will get onto Man City very, very shortly. But we're going to... Oh, it looks like Julio's... We're going to start with these two. That was actually perfect timing. Mr. Complete and utter hipster, has no plan B tactics, the most useless manager in the Premier League. The manager I said who was going to be sacked by Christmas. The fraud, Russell Martin, has been sacked alongside Gary O'Neill, which... What has happened to that Wolves side? Just complete mess on and off the pitch. But guys, give me your thoughts on it, honestly.
Well, first of all, in the nicest respect, the two manliest managers are, in terms of looking like professional men, are finally gone. There's nobody who looks more professional in suits than those two in the Premier League, and they're now gone. It's a win-win. Just being honest, they do suit a suit really well. I have to compliment a man's style, but that's when the compliments end. We already knew that Russell Martin wasn't going to last. We already had the tweets, not really, we didn't have tweets pending, but we had the comments pending. And for one, it's the same thing over and over with Russell Martin. It's always the enjoyment of possession football without the execution of winning a football match comfortably. And it's why they're so far down in the bottom of the league. It's because they do not have a different way of play. Now, there's nothing wrong with having multiple ways of play. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your style literally prevents you from scoring goals, then you need to realistically look at the bigger picture. And Russell Martin didn't, and it backfired, and now it's cost him his job, which, to be fair, it's well deserved. Gary O'Neill, I've said it numerous times before on this podcast. I'm sick of it sounding like a broken record. He's a terrible manager. He's the worst English manager going. He's not got any style of play. All he's got is a nice haircut, a nice suit, and he's jobless. I hear, and I say this nicely, I hear that Krispy Kreme is hiring. I'm sure he can get a job at Krispy Kreme. But in retrospect, he can't coach. He can't manage, same as Russell Martin. It's high time that these two do the right thing. Walk away from professional football, take up badminton, or get another job or become pundits, because they can't manage and they can't coach.
Well said. I mean, at the end of the day with Russell Martin, we go on a lot, especially with managerial appointments in the Premier League, that you need to make the league adapt to you. Not you adapt to the league.
Such a poetic statement from such a great man.
It is such a poetic statement from a great man, because it only occurs to a certain extent. Because at the end of the day, making the league adapt to you is the key to success in the Premier League, but it's dependent on how far you push it. Russell Martin just completely took it to another planet where it just completely failed, and the guy is probably the most stubborn man in the world, that he will just refuse to play to his players' strengths.
Every time I've said those exact words, every time I've said those exact words, nobody seems to react to when I say it about a manager. It's quite funny. Every time I say adapt, like make the league adapt to you, every single time I've said that, a manager has failed, because they think that their ways work. Their ways don't work. I'll tell you who's another potential on fraud watch, and I don't want to put him on there, but he's potential. Ruben Amorim. Even though it's early doors and I do not associate the whole idea with getting rid of a manager quickly, he has to be very careful, because
I think especially after Bournemouth today, he cements himself. I know Iraola is just the way he's adapted to the league is incredible.
Beautifully tactical manager. But Amorim is finding out fast the poison that is Manchester United, and the worst reality for him is he's a very good manager, and it's already his teams have conceded 17 goals. How you can defend and comprehend that, I don't know. He's still in a chance of 2 competitions to win. They're dying out thick and fast. It's not all down to him. I will not lay on that. It's not all down to him. But one thing has to change if he wants to get results. He needs to stop with this rotation policy.
Yeah.
I put out a tweet earlier on. I don't have an issue with a rotational policy. Great managers have rotated in their entire spells of football clubs and succeeded. Otmar Hitzfeld, Fabio Capello, they've done it and won everything there is to win with a rotation policy. But not just their rotation policy, but there was also games where they kept the same 11 4 or 5 games in a row. Then they made a change or two. So there's a rotation policy, but there's not overdoing it. Ruben Amorim has made every single substitution possible in his games here. He's rotated players every single game, except Bruno Fernandes. Let's be real, he's the only player that doesn't seem to be exempt from his rotation policy. Something has to change, otherwise the worst reality is the fans will turn on him. And I am sick of managers being turned on at the club. It's becoming it's not even a cycle anymore. It's like switching on a computer. Switch it on, manage it out. So you turn the computer off. Manage it in. Like, it's actually very dangerous now. And another thing as well, and I don't know if Julio's seen them today, but it's actually really pissed me off. Because also we're talking about sack watch, but the only thing that's pissed me off today is every single thing that went wrong, it's always It was a good game for Marcus Rashford today. Bad game for Rashford, and I'm like, guys, you aren't making yourselves look edgy. You aren't making yourselves look cool. You are making yourselves look fucking stupid. Like, Marcus Rashford is going. It's the right decision. But I'm sick of people using it as a way to make it all about him because the team lost. Like, that's
At
wrong.
the end of the day, with Rashford, I find a lot, mainly because he's been one of the longest serving players, which I find is absolutely mad. It shows how quickly time's going. But
he's the second longest tenure player in this team after Luke Shaw.
It's mental. And even then, Luke Shaw should have been moved on ages ago.
5 years ago, Luke Shaw.
Absolutely. But the thing with Rashford is, look at all of the problems that Manchester United have had exemplified over the last couple of years. Who has been a consistent figure in that toxicity? Who's been a consistent figure in those poor performances? Who's been that consistent figure with fans protecting players, aka, oh, I support this player over the club?
Exactly.
There's your problem. And we have called this out manager after manager. Matt, the only way you're going to fix Manchester United is if you completely strip it back. You get rid of all the toxicity, all the egos, have a complete clear out and start again from fresh.
I have a strange theory about Marcus Rashford, and I know I will get massive hate for this comment, and I actually do not care anymore.
Go for it.
My theory, and it goes back to what you said, Marcus Rashford is the leak.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Man, I don't want to, and I am, and now, obviously people absolutely love Marcus Rashford. I've got no qualm with that. I absolutely don't. But when you look at it, he's been here for so long. He's been involved with all the managerial sackings post Sir Alex Ferguson, David Moyes. I can't really include them. Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson retired, but obviously David Moyes did get sacked. But Van Gaal, all the way through, he's been here.
Yeah.
The scary thing about Marcus Rashford is he has had bad performances, just like anyone else. But the minute he changed to deal away from... Now, I believe a footballer should be allowed to do anything else in their spare time, provided they have the same professionalism outside the club as they do inside the club. That, for me, is very important. It's like us at our jobs. We're expected to be professional within our jobs, but outside, we still have, to a degree, some level of professionalism, because it can come back to our employers and bite us in the arse, and we could get seriously disciplined.
Absolutely.
So my qualm with Rashford is he's been here for so long, just like any other player who has caused issues. And obviously, people are saying he's broke his back for the club and he's done all this, he's done all that. And I'm like, yeah, he has. The minute he started going after the government is when his loyalties to the club changed.
Yeah.
You can't tell me he's got the same loyalties anymore. No, I don't. One thing I think has not helped him at all, and this is not something that goes in his favour. You can tell the relationship between him and the fans have changed, because you can tell I need a new challenge at XYZ has completely gone. I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to say it's non-existent anymore. It's definitely dead. There's no relationship. I don't think there is a relationship anymore between Rashford and the fans. Just his personal fan club.
Mm-hmm.
But the nature of it is, saying you need a new challenge in the midst of us already losing a game 3-0, he then gets dropped. But people are like, oh, but what about Garnacho? I'm like, yeah, Garnacho was dropped. And he responded well. Marcus Rashford hasn't responded since this. You'd think after getting dropped from a big game, you think you would have some sort of mental... Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of mental fatigue, but you'd have a little bit of a mental spark about you to say, you know what, I really want to fucking prove these guys wrong. But it seems like all hope of him is gone. Like, all hope is gone. To quote the Slipknot album, but that is it. Like, I feel like, not for him in the sense of it, but it's time for him to really get out, get away, go wherever, and maybe regain the love for football. I think he will never get it back, and that is unfortunate. I don't condone any racial abuse he's had. I don't condone that. I condone proper criticism for him. That is worth condoning, because every player should be praised and criticised. Obviously, some of it has gone too far with him. I'm always consistent when it comes to him, but this whole thing with me thinking he's the leak, it's only been coming around the past couple of days. It's not like it's been brewing for a long time. It's only been brewing the last couple of days. But there's just something about it where there's constant leaks, but he's the only one that's been around for that long. Like, I find the whole idea that people think Amad Diallo is the leak insane. Like, he ain't. Garnacho, potentially. I think he needs to really be questioned as well. I think he's had some problems of his own that needs to be addressed, but there's so many things wrong, but it's why I'm sick of the online fan base, you know? I'm sick of it. Like, they are painful. Like, I'm at the point now where I've just had enough. Like, they're actually stealing the energy I have for the football club, you know? But that actually it hurts me. It hurts me.
Yeah, it's completely understandable, and with the way it is, and we're so far away, obviously, until the summer. I know we got January coming up, but unless Amorim has got balls on him, he's going to be still at the club, isn't he? Like, you may be able to get rid of him for 40 million. People, I know his fan base will absolutely kick and cry about it, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't even pay 20, 30 million for him. Like,
I had hoped that he would have just turned it around.
Finished.
I would have hoped that he would have turned it around, but he hasn't. And that's football. But I don't like the fact that people are saying that Amorim can't find him into his system. Amorim has tried. He's actually physically tried. What more can you do? If he doesn't fit, you have to move on. You can't keep a player if they don't fit. It's not fair on the player as well. Like, it's absolutely not fair on him. So it's quite spooky.
It is spooky, and the thing that you will give Amorim is at least he's trying with it. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
he's got to go if it doesn't work. But Julio, what's your thoughts, bud?
So on the Marcus Rashford situation, I concur with a lot of what Reece has said there.
Yeah,
you know, I've said a lot of the similar things in the video I dropped on my channel about it, and I completely not the leak part. That's Reece's theory. I'm not going to jump on Reece's theory like that.
I think it needs to be raised though. If you look at it, I don't think
it does need to be seriously looked at. I think not just for Rashford, but for anyone who's actually there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I do agree. One thing I want to bring up actually, is when Reece mentioned about people saying, "Oh, Amorim hasn't tried him in his system." I was very vocal when Amorim was appointed about how he could potentially get the best out of Rashford, in the sense of he plays him in this role, in this position, this might actually work. He has tried that, and it's clearly not working. And I don't see any points, because let's be honest, we're not getting value for money for wages, and you know, we can't have a £350,000 a week on wage asset sitting at home, because A, the club might have an issue with him, B, the manager's not picking him, and C, he looks like he's up for sale. And I don't think you can justify keeping him at this point. Not just, and I've always said it's the best move for all the parties. I said at the start of the season, I want him to turn it around, but it's a big season, and if he doesn't hit the ground running 6-7 weeks into the season, he will be sold.
It's game over for him, you know. I'm at that point now where I just cannot. There's nothing else I can say. Like, what's the point?
There is honestly nothing else to say
argument. On it. Cheers, Kane. Appreciate it. It's a loss, you know. Like, this is the point. This is where I'm at. Like, do I think he's the main one? No, but I think certainly when you look at how long he's been here,
who should go. He's not the only one.
When someone's been here for so long and they've got such a connection, eventually somebody will just go, well, I've had enough now. And they will actually start speaking to people. That doesn't make him a leak on purpose. But it was quite coincidental when he just had a conversation with someone, then they found out he wasn't in the team. Oh, team sheets leaked. You know what I mean? Like, that's actually quite frightening. Now, people assume that means he is a leak. No, it just means that he's actually, what he's saying has unfortunately been leaked to the wrong people, but he's just speaking what he's been told. That's a reality that's quite frightening now, you know?
I think it
So-
suits the point. I think it fits the point we've made about him as well. That in terms of his entourage, he's got a family around him. I think he needs more people around him who aren't family, who don't have that emotional investment into him like that.
He keeps going
Because
back to that same lassie every single time as well, and it never goes well for him with her anyway. She's another one.
this time around, I just think, I mean, for all we know, it could be Marcus Rashford's brother that's really the problem in all this. You know, Rashford sends him the team sheet and then tells him what's happening, and then he sells it to the press or whatever. Look, I don't know. We may have already seen his last home game. Who knows? I think it's a lot more difficult to sell him in January than it is in the summer, because you've got to look at suitors, you've got to look at you've got to be realistic with what you're asking for. But at the end of the day, you know, if I think what Amorim has in his back pocket a little bit here, and it's not even about Amorim, it's more about the actual thing in the back pocket, and that's the board. The board are not gonna keep around an asset who isn't performing, and they're really sending out a message where if you're not good enough,
something needs to happen, because eventually it's all going to combust. And one thing that they're already under enough aggro as it is right now for shit that they've pulled. They need to look into this, because you can't make another big mistake. Like, you just can't. So like, something has to give. And like I say, when it comes to online fan base, I'm at my wit's end with the online fan base. I'm sick of seeing the discourse. I'm sick of seeing, oh, Rashford this, Rashford that, Fernandes this, Fernandes that, Martin is this, Martin is that. Oh, this week Anthony done more spins than he done shots. I'm like, can you all just die? Like, I would pay anything for them all to die. Like, that's how much the online fan base have had enough. Like, I just can't stand it anymore. I just want to enjoy the games. But the discourse is disgusting. The club, like, the vitriol around the club is evil. And it's just not right. And I don't think you can fix it. I think United are at a point now where you actually physically cannot fix the club.
And I think, do you know what? I think as fans, we're at that point where we don't have favourites anymore. Like, everyone can go, even the good players. They can go if it means we win. Do you know what I mean? And Jim Ratcliffe, I don't think is a patient person. You know, to get rid of Dan Ashworth 5 months after hiring him, he's gone, well, what's the point in keeping him if it doesn't look like he's going to go forward? No.
Bearing in mind, that's a concern, because obviously, Dan Ashworth, one of the best directors in the country.
To be fair, if you want to hire Gareth Southgate, you should be sacked immediately anyway. So that for me is an automatic termination.
Well, this was the biggest opportunity in Ashworth's career, and this is where we were really going to see whether he was the metal. And I was never, even with the links to Southgate, I was never worried realistically that we would hire him, because I saw Omar Barada as our CEO, Jean-Claude Blanc up there in the board of directors, two people who have worked with successful footballing institutions on the pitch and off the pitch. There's no way they are going to succumb themselves to that kind of mediocrity. So if Omar Barada, and especially if Ashworth is taking certain holiday days and it doesn't look like he's pulling his weight, you know, I remember there was an article when he was at Newcastle. There was, in the negotiations between the two clubs, there was a thing about Dan Ashworth's data algorithm or something, and whatever software, whatever program he uses for his recruitment. And then we see, when the news came out that Ashworth was gone, it was very much like, let's see what the reports say. And if, apart from the Southgate stuff, if you're telling me this guy doesn't look, if our owner, part owner, and the CEO is looking at this guy, it doesn't look like he's pulling his weight, and doesn't feel like he can recruit to the best of his own ability, because he feels either he doesn't have enough power, or he doesn't want to buy players that are so set specific to one formation for what the manager wants, then what does that really say about you in recruitment terms?
Exactly.
So I think realistic. I mean, even for Amorim himself, I think he knows that even though it's a process, it's still a results-based business. And I remember Reece made a point last spring. I'm going to say spring. I can't remember whether it was March, April, where if after 2 full years, managers not competing for titles, they should be gone. And I think the
Yeah,
board has
I
that
said
same
that
outlay
in-
because we've seen that
said
with
that in the
Arteta.
March. I said that
We've
in the
seen that
March.
with Klopp. You know, they both came in mid-season, and after 2 full seasons at their clubs, they were competing, they were challenging, and I mean, Amorim will take some of the blame for today, if not all of it. You know,
Absolutely.
I don't think it was wise to put Mainu and Bruno in midfield together the way that he did. I don't think that's stable. If you're gonna,
I think Mainu's in trouble. I think Mainu's in trouble.
I do slightly worry for him a little bit. I think Mainu will come good. I think Mainu seems to be good at a bit of everything. You know, he seems really well rounded. At least that's what we saw last season. I think really in this system, and you need to find the right role for him in this system.
It's not just that. It's not just that. If you want to play in this type of system, especially for a manager like Amorim, the most important thing, and this is what's being let down, you need to be an actual athlete. And all due respect to Kobe Mainu is a wonderful talent to watch. But athletically, nah. He ain't.
He needs more legs around him.
Yeah.
If he had I mean, to be
needs
fair,
himself, every single player in this team needs to be the ability to actually run and continue to run. And this is where people pick their favourites on who does run and who doesn't. That argument needs to change as well. It's if the whole team isn't running, the whole team isn't working. Everybody has got to work. Everybody's got to run. Everybody's got to make the bare minimum actually look properly done. And this is the key, and this is why they don't succeed. So, this is where I'm going to actually defend Marcus Rashford a little bit, actually. When people say he doesn't run, but then they try to compare it to someone else like an Ahmad. Now, Ahmad right now is playing as a right wing back. Ahmad has got to run like a kamikaze ninja, up and down, up and down, up and down, because that's what a wing back is demanded. Marcus Rashford, if you're playing in that 10 role, you're still expected to run at least within and without the 18-yard box, but also within 30, 40 yards of the opposition box. But you also need to be able to have gone back to at least the halfway line. Not overly. I've got the same critique as I do for Bruno Fernandes when he runs 80 yards back and 80 yards forward. It's you're running in your area or you're running out wide to actually do the job asked of you. But if you're just seen as jogging, you're going to get attacked. Now, he does do that. But when you look at other players who were doing that in the last games, like Fernandes, I love Fernandes, but he does it quite a lot. He just jogs. That has to change. If you don't want to be a runner, then you need to be in a position where you're not being used as a runner, or you play for a team that don't rely on runners. They rely on keeping possession of the ball. We aren't going to be like that. We are mostly going to be, whilst keeping possession, we are going to be constantly outworking the opposition. That's the intention. So everybody's got to work and work hard and run. If you don't, you will be out. So that's why I will defend Rashford in that perspective, because he isn't the only one, but he's the first one that people go to. He shouldn't be the first person to go to. For me, the people you should be going for first when it comes to runners is that bank of 4 midfield. If your midfield isn't running, doesn't matter who's in front of you or behind you, it's already game over. The defence have got to run between the goalkeeping line and 20, 30 yards outside the box. The midfield has got to cover back and front, same as the wing backs. The 2 10s will cover 20, 30 yards off the striker. And the striker's job is literally just, you've got to just attack the goalkeeper and attack the defence. But if your midfield isn't running, it's over. So that needs to be looked at. You definitely need more athletes in there. I think people say Kobe Mainu doesn't work in this system. I think he does. But Kobe Mainu doesn't work, in my opinion, as one of the midfield 2. I think you need to play him in one of the 10 roles, personally. Where it's not about less running for him, but it lets him be up the field a bit more. United needs someone beside Ugarte, like a Morton Hillman, who I've said should be our main target in the summer, and I stand by that. United need athletes in the middle of the park. Otherwise, we won't go anywhere. And I stand by that. Why do you think we get outrun by teams like Nottingham Forest?
It was the same problem when Jose left as well.
Yeah.
I remember
was.
when Ollie came in, and one of the first things he said was the fact that this team isn't fit enough. I want to. Obviously, he didn't end up doing this, but he wanted to make the team run more than everyone else. And I
Yes.
think that was part of the reason we got so many injuries.
Because
And-
they weren't running as much, which
Hmm.
even for a Mourinho team is insane. Because one thing that Mourinho pride on his teams was his teams worked. Like his teams worked hard.
Mhm.
It says a lot that none of them did in that final half of the season that he had, final half of the first half of the season when he got the boot, which is rare for him. His teams always worked, even when it went wrong. His teams were working for him. They were working hard. They were just getting beat. At United, it's the only time I've ever seen where he's had players that don't run for him. That's the only time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
That can't continue. Same today as well. Look at the game against Bournemouth today. I only saw one player running all match, and that was Amad Diallo. He was the only player I saw consistently running up and down, up and down, up and down, or running the inside, running out wide. And yet this guy wasn't touched by Ten Hag for so long. Now, I think Anthony's a clown, even though I did rate him at one point. I defend him quite well, but I think he's a clown. But I'll tell you this, and this will shock people, Anthony starts in my team because Anthony runs.
I think he's, to be fair, I think he's looked good when he's come on. He's looked okay, nothing too great, but I think coming on as one of the wing backs, I think he's done a lot better job than a lot of other players have in the system. And I think
I would put him
away
right
with
wing
an
back.
Anthony.
I would put him at right wing back, and I put Amad in one of the 10 roles.
Yeah.
Because it works. I think those two would have a good partnership together. I think it would work really well.
I think
because they work hard.
Yeah, I think for me, a manager really shows his mettle with what he's got, with working what he's got, rather than complain about what he hasn't got. Which is why I kind of don't mind this rotation policy, because he really wants to get a good look at a lot of these players.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mind. That's what I'm saying earlier on. I don't mind the rotation policy. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, dude. I don't mind the rotation policy, but there's some games where he really has to keep the same team.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like today, we'll get turned over. That's back-to-back defeats. We've conceded 7 goals in back-to-back games, which is quite scary. We need to nullify that. He needs to keep the same team, even for 3 games. It doesn't have to be 4 or 5, but even if it's 3 matches, see who fits in. But rotating the entire team, I have my doubts about that. If you want to do rotation, rotate 4 or 5 players.
The only thing I can think of, apart from obviously looking at a lot of these players, is it's something fitness related.
It must be, because they are so easy to get past. Their energy levels are shocking. I'll tell you what it is. And
could that be down to attitude though?
Yeah,
in a way,
or even the training methods of the previous regime.
It's possible. Here's a funny way to look at it. I'm going to use this analogy because it's always funny. I compare. Yeah, I'm gonna actually. When you look at it, when you look at juggernauts compared to hard work, Manchester United tonight, are what Tyson Fury was last night, and Bournemouth is Alexander Usyk.
Yes.
It's United joking about. Stats look good. The stats did look good, to be fair, for Fury last night. You think he might be in with a decent bit of chance. He's getting in a little bit of shuffling, he's getting a little bit of the box turn, he's got moving in there. And then it gets straight knocked the fuck. Now, he didn't get knocked out, but he got knocked back a lot. Bournemouth, on the other hand, had the balls to knock United out. 3-0. It could have been 4 or 5. That is the difference between showmanship and just doing the bare minimum to get a result versus hard work, commitment, drive. I want United to be commitment, hard work, and drive, not showmanship. That does nothing for me. It's good to have fun before a game or after a game, but when it's game time, I expect you to do your job. You get paid thousands of pounds to do your job. And if you don't think that's enough, then there's what I think of you. It's cheap. It costs nothing. So there you go. Bournemouth are Usyk. Man United last night were Fury. Quite a coincidence because Fury and Usyk are both Man United fans. But that's the element that I want to see. I want to see the difference. I want to see the change. I want to see United just become full on, just hard work, drive and commitment, and let the manager enjoy why he came here in the first place. He came here for the fact it's a step up for him. It's a new challenge, but he wants to take the Premier League head on. So these players better just bloody commit to him. Now, I'm sorry if there are any Fury fans watching, but your boy lost. But in retrospect, that's what I think of the whole situation. United were Fury, Bournemouth were Usyk. The difference is their hooks actually finished the job.
Well said.
Didn't think I'd ever do a boxing analogy on this show, but it's a new one. It's a new one.
It is the first for the World of Football podcast.
And it was correct as well.
I do want to.
It was very correct.
I think Julio's seen the light.
Oh, ref.
He's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Checking VAR. Date night cancelled.
Then you just have David Coote peeking through the window.
Oh, if he's not there, you need to change his name to Taken Away by VAR. You got to.
Wait. Oh no, hang on.
He's gonna kill us. We'll just sit tight and wait for him to come back.
Just here with our night riding.
Absolutely.
Seeing this absolute beauty.
Night driving in the background. We're all happy. We're all chill. And he comes back to kill us.
Sorry, lads. I had to sort something out for my mum. Unfortunately, she forgot that I was streaming, so she didn't go through the methods I discussed beforehand.
Yeah.
I've seen what it says. I find it hilarious.
For what?
For what do you mean for what?
What are you talking about? You said you've seen what it says. What are you talking about?
Taken away by VAR.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, that's the truth.
Oh, God. Anyway, what were you going to say about United?
Before I was interrupted and asked for help, I was going to say one last comment on Amorim, and then I was going to go on to Fraud Martin and Gary O'Neill.
It's been a while since we spoke about them, actually. So yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew Nathan wanted to move on, so I thought I'd get my point in about them quickly.
Good lad.
So yeah, I mean, what I was mentioning about obviously Amorim showing what he's about with what he's got.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's why I respect Klopp's job at Liverpool until they won the league, not for what they did after. Because what Klopp did was he took them step by step with not a lot of transfers initially each summer, not a lot of money spent each summer. They spent money obviously on players. But he had to survive with Ragnar Klavan as one of his first signings for a few years as a centre-back option. Joel Matip on a free. Do you know what I mean? Like, until Van Dijk came in, which was 2 years into his time at Liverpool, some of the centre-backs he had weren't title-winning level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think we will see some of that with Amorim. I think we might.
I hope
if Anthony plays his cards right, for example, I think we could see Anthony here for a good couple of years at least as a backup option, but a decent backup option. Because if the spine and the rest of the team is good, you can get away with maybe like one or two dodgy players who turn up on the day when they're asked to. Liverpool had Van Dijk, and no matter who played next to him, they were all right. So if the rest of the team is okay, and I think that's what a lot of these players need to aim for, because a lot of them won't be here or shouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
Like the likes of
You're
Harry
spot on.
Maguire starting at centre back in a back three, I've got no issue with that.
I think I'll tell you
As a
this.
fifth choice centre back, I'm on a 1 year extension for next season. I'm not fussed with that.
I've got a scary theory.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Matthias de Ligt gets sold in the summer.
Wow.
Bold, but I don't know why. The last minute panic buys from Ten Hag, I can see going straight away.
I think the thing is right. I think I really like Matthias de Ligt.
Yeah.
Which is why this surprises me a lot,
centre-back.
Reece.
But to be fair, I'm a big fan of Martinez, but Martinez right now isn't even exempt from my death blow criticism either.
I was going to say, I would say Martinez is more likely to be on fraud watch than De Ligt at the moment. Me personally.
Yeah.
But the reason why I've also said de Ligt is because I think de Ligt represents where it has gone wrong recently, and that's why he isn't in the squad, which says a lot. I think he will get replaced.
Isn't he carrying an injury?
I think he is, but even when he has been fit, he's been constantly taken off. By the 60, 65th minute mark, he keeps coming off, which is quite frightening that he does not last that long. I think it'll get to the point where he might get replaced, and we'll look at, I don't know, maybe a Quenda or a Charisma or Diomande, where you might look at positions where Quenda comes in and then Matsurabi goes back to wing back. Alternatively, he stays there. It's just these questions that are just posing in my head. I really do like Matthias de Ligt. I really do. But I also think as well, if you cannot last for an hour, then something needs to be asked. Especially when Maguire, when he's actually played the past couple of games, he's actually played really well. And it's hard for me to say that because I don't like that bloody clown. But I will always give credit where credit's due. In the past couple of games, he's been faultless. None of the goals we've conceded actually relate to Harry Maguire. Like, if you actually go back and look at the 7 goals Man United conceded between Tottenham and Bournemouth, none of the goals he was involved in. Which makes you wonder, either opposition are afraid to attack him, or frankly, he's actually more comfortable in this back three where nobody wants to take him on. And that is frightening if nobody wants to take him on. Especially because his last game was 100%. He won 100% of his duels. He won all his headed clearances. His pass rate was insane. He won 12 tackles. But yet nobody takes him on. They used to take him on the back four, but they won't take him on now. I find that interesting. So,
do you know what? I actually don't disagree with. I think when you mention about posing a lot of questions about, I think with the board, no one is safe. I personally think De Ligt will last longer than maybe what you're suggesting. But
I think if he's not here next summer, I think he only has one other year left. I don't think he'll outsee his full contract. You know, I just don't.
I can't see it either, to be honest.
The board is giving everyone 2 years to perform, depending. Obviously, if that, depending on who it is. Like if Bruno isn't pulling up trees this time next year, they'll be calling Saudi and saying, "Listen, can you give us £100 million for this player, please?"
Pedro Chavez will still be waiting, unfortunately. Make the effort, just hurry up and get him, so I can spare the fact that I was right 3 years ago. Because we should have signed him over Jadon Sancho, but there we go. But there's the thing. Like, I agree, no one is safe. But that's the sort of attitude you should want to have at a big club. Like, people always want to say that Man United is up there with the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. And I've said this so many times as well as a Man United fan, that we are up there. But they don't give a shit about their players. If they aren't pulling up trees, they will get rid of them.
Yeah.
We need to have that attitude. There's another player I have to say he needs to go now. Today proved it. Tyrell Malacia, he must go. He's done. He is finito. He is absolutely 100% unequivocally finito. That's him. His career is over. He may as well go back to the Dutch league. because he was way below average.
Interesting.
On Fraud Martin.
Back to
Yes.
Where does he go next, you think?
Well, I've said since the start of the season that he's down. They're down.
Mhm.
I thought, now to be fair, I thought Southampton was stupid enough that they will keep him all season and go down playing their way and try and blitz the championship and finish third again next season. No matter, like, okay, shagging X, like, you know, cover model, whatever, Lucy Pinder. Okay, great. Never going
You
to keep
really
him up.
can't help yourself with that reference, can you? You've always got to get
Because on Russell Martin, the biggest news this year on him is never about the football pitch. It's about who he's been going to the beach with off the pitch.
Mhm.
And that's not
Surprised
because of
anyone
him.
that will
That's
go
because
with
of
it.
his model misses. So, do you know what I mean? Like,
To be fair, if we all had a shot, we'd all take a cracker. Let's be real.
it's kind of,
Yeah,
fair enough.
the funny thing is, good-looking woman, but she's not my type. She's a model.
It's not
No
wrong,
brain.
though.
No brain.
Anyway, but on the Juric appointment,
It's so good.
I'm very 50-50 on it because
I'm not.
only because I don't know if it works. It works.
Mhm.
You need to put both headphones in. You need to put both headphones in, mate. You keep cutting.
I don't know what's happened recently. Like, I've been told that's what keeps happening. I'm using a mic and everything. I don't know what's happening.
I think it's interfering your connection or something. I don't know.
Right now, Reece.
Right, there's no need to patronise me. I was actually sticking up for you.
Oh crap! I don't know what to do here.
Take the headphone off and just talk without it. It's the only option you've got. Or buy a headset. Zatuga, please stand by.
Amazing.
See, I'm not saying this to wind him up. I'm saying it purely because when it keeps cutting out, it's hard to hear the point he's making. It's not an
Mhm.
indictment of him. Oh wow, another Kurt Angle liked post,
Nice. There we go.
and it's not even one he was tagged in. He tagged like my roster wars show.
Oh, I love it.
In fact, did I tag him in that? I should double check. Did I tag him in this? No, wait, never mind. I did. Still, he liked it.
Nice.
That man will be on my channel next year. You've heard it here first. He will.
There we go. Get that clip, lads.
It'll probably cost me a fucking fortune, but I'll do it.
Can you hear me now? Or
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
okay. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't know about Juric. I think, to be honest,
Who's
I mean,
right?
if Southampton go down, and the same for Wolves with Vitor Pereira as well, I don't think if they go down, I don't think the managers are there next year. I think both of them leave.
To be
mean, Russell
honest,
Martin-
out of both of them, I don't know why I can see Pereira getting sacked because the Wolves are just a shambles everywhere at the moment. Toxicity
like
off the
Pereira
pitch,
might be-
toxicity on.
I think he'll be okay because he's Portuguese.
True.
But,
But then again, look how Bruno Lage turned out.
true.
I think the only thing for them though is if they do sack him, it's not an indictment on him, but they definitely are in trouble.
Yeah.
They're in trouble. I mean, even if he keeps them up, I can see him walking away. He's not. He's walked away from jobs before and gone to better opportunities, shall we say?
He's only got an
Um,
18-month contract, so he's literally there's nothing for him to lose.
It's very short term, yeah. If either way, I don't think he's here at the beginning of next season. I mean, I think both sackings were coming. I think they were very expected. I think if you're going to come up from the Championship playing a certain way, I think if you want to know the blueprint for staying up in the league, I think you look at Thomas Frank at Brentford.
Yes.
Because when he came up, he didn't abandon his principles, but he adapted a little bit. He tactically adapted, and he made them better defensively and a bit more pragmatic, but they still played their way. and obviously they're still here years later. Obviously, we've seen the last few years that goals have kept them up in Tony and then Mbeumo and Reece collectively, but that's what you need to stay up. It's something I've been saying for the last year, nearly 2 years that I've been on this show. Gone are the days where a team can sign someone's bench strike or someone's strike or whatever, and he bags the goals consistently to keep them up. Brentford have had that. And with Tony going, we've seen before the effect Mbeumo has as a goal scorer, and he's got that effect now. And I feel like that's what Russell Martin should have done. When he come up, he should have tactically tweaked his setup, because you can still play. I feel like you can still play a possession-based game while still being defensively sound.
Agreed.
So I don't see why not. You know, I mean, I don't know. You guys might not think I'm tactical enough, but realistically, it's football. I just don't see how. If you're either playing defensive football, I don't see this. There's this ongoing narrative where you're either a Sean Dyche or you're a Graham Potter, where either you play defensive football or you play tippy-tappy stuff. And that it just seems to be a lot of narratives these days. And if you've got any metal about you, and if you're smart, you come up. You know you're coming up as a team. Like Vincent Kompany should have done it. Vincent Kompany should have looked at that team, because he came up and then he abandoned his principles
completely as well.
Yeah,
he did the right thing in thinking something needs to change, but he did the wrong thing by abandoning the principles. It was the wrong execution. And I think, I don't know, I feel like both appointments are weird. I thought Southampton would go down the route of someone maybe who's been in the Red Bull model, perhaps someone who maybe not Graham Potter, but someone of that ilk.
I think they're away from the. I think they've gone away from the whole Red Bull model. I think they've gone away from that. I think Graham Potter wouldn't have been a bad shout. I'm surprised neither club went for him, to be fair. But I do like the bravery in going for Juric. Like I said, I don't think Roma worked for him at all. It was definitely the wrong. It was definitely the wrong appointment. They won 5-0 today under Ranieri. They're fine. He's going to move into his director role. He'll hire a manager that will fit, and they'll move on. The work he did at Torino, however, was really good football. I've got no doubt in my mind that that's the right appointment for them. It's just, will they actually back him? They didn't back Hasenhüttl for so long, and they relied on him just hoping that he'll get them to stay up. You can't do that to a decent manager. You've got to actually spend. And Southampton have got money.
I know they're planning to move some players. Like they brought in Ugo Chukwu on loan from Chelsea. I know they're planning to send him back, and that I think they are planning to invest in January.
They need to keep that centre back they've got from City. They need to sign him permanently.
Well, Howard Bellis?
Yeah.
I believe they have signed him permanently, haven't they? I think it cost them about 20 million quid.
I thought he was on loan.
I think he was on loan last season, and I think they made that permanent.
Is he a permanent signing? Oh, no, okay. If that's the case, then that's good then, because I do rate him. I think he's a really good centre back.
Yeah.
Juric's back three is going to benefit when they transition really well. It's smart. Vitor Pereira, I've seen now and again. There's some smart decisions there for them. I think if they get this right, both clubs stand a chance of staying up. Stand a chance. I'm not saying
the
it's
question
definite.
is whether it'll be enough. Because I think it could be a case where it goes to the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Today showed that for Fulham. Well, today showed that for Southampton against Fulham.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, they should have got a penalty at the very end of the game. I don't think the player got the ball. I think he got the player, but the referee was just hesitant to give a penalty at the dying seconds of the game. I think it was a penalty. But when I look at Wolves, first game in charge, they win easily against Van Nistelrooy's Leicester. I think
to be fair, one thing I will say in Wolves' favour was they had a better lineup. They have better quality of players in their team than Leicester do.
I think Leicester have got a decent squad. The problem is Leicester
that's
have
not
got
to,
a really
that's not to
shit
say
mentality.
Leicester have bad players. That's not to say Leicester have bad players. I think Leicester
course.
has more depth, but I think Wolves have better quality. like having a front three that includes Cunha and Guedes, I think is
They
very
took
good
so
front
long
three.
to play them. I don't know what took them so long to play those two together. Guedes is a beautiful player to watch. He is so good in a 10 role or a 9 or
Brilliant.
a wide.
They've
Cunha
got
as a striker.
same with Cunha
like,
as well. They've got some very good, like fluid forwards.
see if they're smart. Buy a big 9. If Wolves are
They
smart,
already
Vitor
have one.
Pereira.
They already have what's his name? It's like Strand Larsen, I think his name is.
Yeah, Strand Larsen. He's been fairly decent.
He's
up
been
top
okay.
this
He's
season.
been
Yeah.
actually okay for them, yeah. And I feel like the more we might see him, the more it might. I think my big thing for Wolves actually is in January whether they spend, because they've been hit with. I mean, this decline this season has been coming because they lost a lot of
Jose
players
Sa needs
last
to go.
season. They stayed up, and then this season they didn't really invest too much when they really should have. And Gary
When I
O'Neill
look
was
at
working
their.
a lot of
Yeah.
what they had before.
Yeah.
I think Wolves may end up being one of those teams where they might actually, I don't think they will, but they might actually be in a position where they might have to sell an Ait Nouri, for example, for 30 million quid in January to then invest in a couple of players to help keep them up.
Well, here's something interesting, right?
If they do,
They're
United should be all over that Ait Nouri deal.
I think United will go after Cunha first if they think about it. It's the first time they've been 3-0 up in a half time in a Premier League game, Wolves, today. In their
Interesting.
entirety of the Premier League. But they're also behind Leicester by 2 points. Same as Ipswich Town, by the way. They're both only 2 points behind Leicester, and they're 4
But
points behind Palace.
I'll give you 2 words what helped them today. Danny Ward.
He is right.
In fact,
To be
the
fair.
goals that Leicester conceded, one of them was a stupid mistake that just hit one player and went in. Another was a good finish, and then another was Ward should have done better with it, I think, and it hit the post and goes in. But I think Ward should have done so much better to keep it out.
He has
So
turned
that's
into an. I don't know what's happened to him, but in particular over the last 2 years, he's turned into an absolute disaster. He's been dropped by Wales. At the end of the day, he's been at
He's just
Leicester for
crap.
6-7 years now. He needs to be moved on. Like, just sitting
You know, I
there
don't-
on a wage, chilling, living life. Not
You know, I
helping
don't
his career.
understand.
I know he's old now, but
He single-handedly
Needs to
took
go.
them to the championship 2 years ago. I
He
stand
did.
by
See,
that.
see when I look at the players they've got, this is mad. This is Wolves I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
Now, like, annoyingly, because they've got a decent manager now, I can already rule Man United sign out one player from Wolves I really like, apart from Cunha, and that's João Gomez. So I've already ruled out João Gomez as a potential sign now. That's it. It's fucking over. But explain to me how your captain is Nelson Semedo.
true.
I
He
mean,
was
that he is the captain of Wolves.
Cunha was captain, I think, and then they took it off him because
Yeah,
of
they
his-
stripped the
that
captaincy.
incident,
Yeah,
and it was given to
glasses game.
either stripped or he willingly gave it to Semedo.
Giving it to him is still mental, though. I would have given it to Gomez, or I would have given it to Totti, or even Bueno as well. He's a good centre half. But see, when I look at their players like Sasa Kalasic, like, he doesn't seem to fit well anymore. I think that injury he had not too long ago has really wrecked him. But Sasa Kalasic in front of Cunha and either Hwang, or I would personally say Cunha and Gonçalo Guedes. You play those two behind either Strand Larsen or Kalasic as a main 9. They actually have a scary front three that's built on hard work, and you can replace them easily. So, if, for example, if you don't want to play Cunha for 90 minutes, you take him off. You can bring on Pablo Sarabia in one of the advanced centre forward 10 roles. You can do the same with Enzo Gonzalez, who's a really, really tidy player. Like, even the likes of Hwang, you can bring him on if you don't want to play either or. They need to use Bellegarde more, because he's got the pace on him, but he's got good work ethic. He works hard, and he's also got enough age on him. Tommy Doyle's a decent player as well. I don't know why they don't like. He doesn't seem to get enough of him. But when I look at it's quite simple for them to change things up. I actually want to check one little. And they do. To be fair, they play us on Thursday. We play Wolves on Thursday, and then they play Tottenham away on the 29th. So they've got some hard games. Like they've got a few hard games. But when I look at their lineup today, they only they had 8 shots. It's actually for them decent, but it's exactly what I said they would play. Look, let me just share my screen. Ironically, it's exactly what I said they would do. Where is it? They played this. We will be playing them system for system, by the way, which is scary. It's going to be our 3-4-2-1 versus their 3-4-2-1. But they played perfectly João Gomez in that midfield role, who is incredible. Totti Gomez at left centre back, I really like him, but they've got a good core there. The only thing I would change is right here. When's my this? It's time to chuck. It's time to chuck him out, and it's time to play him. Why are they not playing Sam Johnson in goal? And they brought in Hwang Hee-chan like I said they would. They brought in Tommy Doyle. They brought in Bellegarde. So they swapped out their 2 midfielders. But they swapped out Gomez. They swapped out Gonçalo Guedes. They swapped out Strand Larson. But you keep Cunha, Guedes, and Larson in that front three. Well, pretty much a front three, but they're playing as 2 10s. Andre and João Gomez together. That should athletic midfield, but Bellegarde's also athletic as well. They have what essentially is what Man United need. I like that back three Christmas tree system. It's always been a fun system to watch. They play right, it's going to be good. The only thing that has to change, though, they need to take out Matt Doherty. Get a different centre back in there, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I've got more confidence in Wolves staying up than I do Southampton.
So realistically, lads, with Southampton,
I like Juric though.
We all know they're finishing bottom, but if there's one thing they had to change to keep them to make sure they stay up, what would it be?
They already did that. Martin.
I know.
They need a striker and a goalkeeper as well. I don't rate their goalkeeper, and I don't think their striking options are particularly good.
For me, their striking options are upper championship, for likes of Adam Armstrong, etc., etc.
He is rubbish.
Brereton Diaz, decent in championship, rubbish in Premier League.
Yeah,
that's the
they
problem
need to get away from that. They've got all that money. They've got rich owners, but they're buying from the championship. I'm sorry, but if you want to stay in the Premier League, you need Premier League players, not championships. No, it never works. Championship players never stay up. That's why Ipswich will be lucky to stay up.
Yeah. But even then, with the Ipswich signings, for example, the big ones, Liam Delap, for me, he was ready for Premier League transition. But
Southampton should ironically look at him as the next transition. They should. It'd be a good move for him.
They tried to get him. Ipswich beat them to his signing.
If they get relegated, they should just go back in for him. Ipswich will struggle to be able to keep him because they pay him. I'm assuming decent wages because they've got the Premier League money. They get relegated, go for it. I actually wonder, when I look at the Wolves team, goalkeeper and right centre-back aside, I think the only thing that's stopping them is maybe Semedo.
Yeah.
Apart from that, they've got a good
and
team.
Injuries. If they get injuries to key players.
Yeah, Cunha, Guedes, Larson, João Gomez, Totti Gomez. For me, that's their key 5.
Yeah.
That Andre's okay.
Do you know what? I feel like Cunha in that left 10 position is an audition.
Him and one other player audition. Yep. There's only one other.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a video uploading this evening. I actually do mention Cunha as an option, as one of my options to be brought in if Rashford was to go, because I think Cunha offers so much versatility in that front three. And I think he would be, and I think, especially if Wolves go down, I think you get a really good price you get him for a really good price. I think 35 mil, give or take, is what it will take to get him.
I'd go ballsy. I'd go a little bit ballsier. If Wolves do get relegated, take them both.
Yeah.
With him and Aït-Nouri.
No, take him and Guedes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, with the strength that they got in that squad, that Wolves side's getting cleared out in the summer.
I would take 3 their squad in a heart, but maybe 4 actually. I would take
So
Cunha,
many assets.
Guedes. I would take Guedes, Cunha, João Gomez, Totti Gomez in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aït-Nouri is a good player, but he didn't start. I think he is a decent player. I think United will look at someone slightly better. I would say maybe Kirkish.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like Aït-Nouri. He is a decent player. What else spring as well? United have got the perfect chance to just build a smart team in the summer. If the likes of Rashford and whoever does go. Like, Cunha's a smart signing. Emblemo would be a smart signing. Morgan Gibbs White.
Another name I've mentioned. And I think you get them for good money. And these are the deals. They remind me of how Liverpool built their team. You know, Mane, 34 million.
Yeah.
Salah, 34 million. I think
35. I think 35 million is enough to get Emblemo at
I think
Brentford.
Burma, you're getting maybe up to 60. I mean, to be honest, I think he's a better fit at Liverpool for Salah's replacement. But I think Liverpool will go in for Kudus, the more expensive option. Who
Yeah.
I like Kudus, by the way. But I think if Burma is available, I think we get him and Cunha.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is the summer where United just need to do things right.
Yeah.
Now, people say about your United fans, you should want world-class signings. Yeah, true, I do.
But then again, with United, with the world-class signings, look what's happened for the last 7-8 years. It's
Yeah,
constantly been big signing, exposed to have a massive ego, stink out the dressing room, get sold on the cheap.
And these players as well, they look like the kind of players that you've bought them either because they come from a team where there's a very good talent ID and there's very good progression between that club into your system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for both of those players. And I feel like with both of them, if they make the step up to United in this Amorim system, if it's fully cooking, they go to that next level themselves.
If you look at the players I've also said I want United to sign, so the likes of Cunha, Guedes, Morgan Gibbs White, Emblemo, João Gomez, all that, they all coincidentally play in the same systems or have played in the same systems. Brentford, when Emblemo first joined, were playing a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. Vitor Pereira is playing a 3-4-2-1. Nottingham Forest play a 3-4-2-1.
There's already that positional familiarity.
Exactly, so it's not hard. The only difference is you're just going to a bigger club. United in the summer are going to spend money. We know this.
I feel like they're going to try to be methodical with how they spend the money as well, and the price tags.
You let a few players go. So say the likes of Eriksen, Casemiro, if Rashford moves on, there's 3 players. Say Anthony goes as well, even though I think Anthony would fit at right wing back. So say, for example, Anthony moves on as well. So there's 4. My first signing is Hillman in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the sake of it, I'm signing another one, Angel Gomez back on a free. I still want Angel Gomez back at the club because he'd be a really good deep playmaker. So there's 2. Say you sign one of Cunha and Guedes from Wolves, and you sign Morgan Gibbs White, or you sign Emblemo. I think the smart option is you take Cunha and Emblemo, because that means you've got the left and you've got the right footed option, so you can play the inverted 10s that he plays, and then you get a left wing back. And if you make a centre back signing, that's what, 6 signings? You can get the left wing back in January, 5 signings in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You've already smartened up the squad with players who are already fit to your team. The only thing that needs to happen is they just need to get used to your coaching methods. It's simple. It's funny. Football is such a simple game, and people overcomplicate football now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need. It's right there. Anyway, back to the Fraudmeisters. I hope neither of those 2 get a job again. Just don't give them a job. In fact, no, I know exactly where Gary O'Neill can go.
Go for it.
He can go to hell. And Russell Martin can go to hell. because they
Short
both
but sweet,
suck.
we love it. They do.
They
I
both
think
I mean,
it'd
at
be
the end of the day, with Russell Martin as well, I can see him just ending up being a pundit because
I know
I
where they should go.
I,
I know where they should go.
I'm going to say it again. I go on about it all the time, but what has the guy actually done that has
I got
warranted
it.
him to get a Premier League job?
underachieved with the
I
teams
got it.
and squads he's had. He's underachieved.
Correct.
I've got it. Julio, I know where one of those managers should go. I've got it.
Oh no. Where is?
Go on.
Gary O'Neill should take the Cardiff job.
Well,
To be
he
fair,
already has a
player,
fireman reputation, so could do worse with appointments.
But hear me out. You get
Mhm.
Gary O'Neill. He sorts your team out a little bit. Gets the
Ex-Cardiff
Morgan.
player, isn't he?
Former Cardiff player, yeah.
Yeah.
You get Gary O'Neill in till like the end of the season, ish.
Mm-hmm.
You let him fix things up, and then you go for the slightly upgrade. You get Kiko Flores Sanchez.
No, I'm not having Kiko. No chance.
I don't know.
You
You should go Mancini. Reece
No
loves it.
way.
I think Kiko Flores Sanchez would actually be quite interesting for Cardiff.
Actually, but
Look, his first run with Watford says it all. It would.
it was
actually be
incredible,
kinda
to be fair.
fun. It would be kind of fun, and you would play direct football
Which is
with a
what we
Spanish
need.
with a Spanish manager, which is like anti-Spanish.
Could be worse. Reece has mentioned Walter Mazzari before.
Oh my god. Awful.
Yeah, but
Absolutely
to be fair,
awful.
But to be fair, when I said that with good faith. I
Mhm.
said Walter Mazzari as a defensive option, and then you just improve on that. I always give my opinions in good faith.
Absolutely. But getting back onto Fraud Watch, I have a question. Is Omar Reza in Fraud Watch? Or is it not his fault? It's gone this sour. Both on and
Who's
off the
he-
pitch.
Who's he managing?
Cardiff.
Oh, is this the Cardiff boy?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
Yes
I think
and
the
no.
fact is, I'm going to let Julio come to his point in a minute. I'm just going to say it's short and sweet because I don't know much, but I will say this. I've already exploited Cardiff's financial issues beautifully over the past year. So I'm going to say it's not really his fault. But I don't think it's down to him. I think there's some elements that he certainly should be doing better with, like the system and actually getting results.
Yeah.
But yous are already ruined by the owner and nothing seems to change.
Mhm.
That's why you should just get Gary O'Neill. He won't care how much money he's given. He'll just try and get you playing better football. And right now, that's what you guys need.
100%.
Someone just to play better football with. Fine, you
That is
go,
what we
Julio.
need. But yeah, before I go on my rant, Julio, go for it. What's your thoughts?
It's kind of his fault and it's not his fault, and I mean that in the sense of this guy has like no managerial experience.
Yeah.
You know, he's got I think he's only had a short stints at Leyton Orient and something called Cheshire before. I'm just having a quick research there. And there was like 5 years between each of those to now, something along those lines. This guy was an interim manager. This guy was not supposed to hold the fort for the rest of the season. And that's why it's not
Oh, Mike's gone, bud.
kind of job.
There we go, he's back.
You're
Just
back.
just a short plug for everybody as well.
Mhm.
Julio does have a video premiering in 30 minutes, so remember to
Brilliant.
just check out his channel. So just a reminder.
Reece, if you've missed me that much, you should go watch it straight after this.
Who said I'm missing you?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you wanted to hear me waffle for another half an hour after we finish,
It's not like you'll be live anyway. It's just your video that you've recorded. But to be fair, your thumbnail looks good.
yeah, I'm proud of it personally.
Oh, sorry.
Omar Reza should not be in this gig. He is. It's more on the board because thank you. It's on the board because it took them a month or so to, if that, maybe even longer than a month, to eventually decide, you know what, we're going to keep this guy to the end of the season because we don't have any candidates probably we can't pay for. Which I think
What makes
is
it even worse, it was 75 days it took to appoint him.
75. Oh, so it's longer than 2 months.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus, that's even worse.
So you can't really blame him.
No, I think you can only blame him because of the tactics and stuff on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd hope he'd opened up his old coaching manual and saw where in there talk about tactics and stuff. But jokes aside, he shouldn't be in that position. He's not in a position he's not in a position to manage. And you know, he was a part of Bullet's staff, wasn't he?
He was, but he was only a coach.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Is what makes it even worse. And to add on top of that as well, which a lot of people forget, is that Tan sacked pretty much all the backroom staff minus Omar Reza and another coach in Tom Ramsett, who said, "Oh, Ramsett's going to be your assistant." So essentially, they have also got no coaches, so they are running the gig themselves.
But I think as well
criminal.
That if I know you might be merely a coach, therefore you have no jurisdiction being in the hot seat in the first place. But I think the other thing is, if you are part of the coaching staff when a manager's been sacked, especially with how poor of a start, something's gone wrong in that regard. You are part of the reason something has gone wrong, and I feel like you should have gone as well. But obviously, I don't know what the board and Tan's thinking were behind it. The bottom line is the board are as incompetent as they've always been. And if you go down this season, the board obviously are sending you down themselves. It's like Vincent Tan is trying to find new and unheard ways to screw everything up. It's like being out at a nightclub, but you don't go up to pick up women. You go out to try and sabotage your good chances with them.
You know what they need?
That's the best.
It's true when we think about it.
I know.
That's another one for Apocalypse Bingo. You know that meme? That's literally what Vincent Tan's been doing.
But on top of that as well, so obviously because... Go on.
There's only one way. There's only one way that he tops his Apocalypse Bingo booking with his card. There is only one manager in the 92 that's been around that he has to just say...
The car salesman. Oh my God,
no.
It's time. Cardiff City need to be managed by Beals on wheels.
Oh no.
Michael Beale must get the Cardiff job. And it's
the worst thing was he was one of the favourites and all.
Oh, Beals on wheels, Beals on wheels.
Oh no.
But
going back to sorry.
Absolutely, I need it. I want it. I love it. Let me laugh in the pain of Michael Beale getting the Cardiff job.
Go on, sorry, Ilya. What were you going to say before I get onto my thing about?
I have an AI edit. I'm just trying to find this AI edit, but I've got an AI edit that might be worth sharing. Let me just find it quickly. One of you waffle for and monologue.
But yeah, going back to what.
Which one of you wants to monologue? Go do it. I'll be right back.
I happily will. So going back to what Julio said about obviously like the board and stuff with why it took so long with this appointment. All of the supporters clubs, including my travel group, which never mentioned. Oh my God, he's done. Please stand by again. Oh, this geezer.
I can't take him seriously. Well, please stand by him.
Please stand by.
I can't take that seriously.
Should I import that really high-pitched noise when the TV is cut, like when they have the standby message?
Yeah, just for the absolute banter.
But yeah, so basically, because we were all fuming about just no continuity of what was going on with the managerial situation, all the travel groups, including the supporters club, who never get involved with anything, everyone wrote an open letter. And what do? Oh, you haven't communicated by the right channels. And they were too scared to put it on Twitter because of the backlash, which, if you want to avoid accountability, that is it. And then all of a sudden, tucked away on the website, they actually did a response. It was a massive response by them for a director who has no power under the bus, who was answering the questions. So, and it was all waffle. So I did a translation of it.
Oh, God, no.
Here we go. This is the translation to the open letter. We have absolutely no idea what we are doing. And I mean, Tan will only appoint a manager when he wants to appoint a manager. And as he had to pay the last one, the last one off in full, he now wants a cheap option. But he'll only get the cheap option if he wakes up on the right side of the bed. However, the one thing you've got to remember is the academy has loads of funding. Gavin Chesterfield's doing a cracking job, isn't he? And he'll be able to sell a few kids for a few quid. Now, I don't know whether that sounds dodgy in its own, but talk about trying to get some quid in and trying to deflect all the blame. Oh,
in other
on
words,
top of that as well.
In other words, deflecting and trafficking. Jesus
Absolutely. Big up Gavin Chesterfield. But on another positive side, we have also invested heavily in the squad this season, even though we have made a few million quid profit on players compared to purchases. Oh, one other thing as well. We'll also send Dalman to a meeting 3 times a year with the so-called fan advisory board, which literally has no say in how the clubs run, to waffle and sprout absolute nonsense.
So the
Cardiff
sheer
City
joy
Football Club.
So the sheer joy where they said they've spent money, which is correct because I said they would spend money,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to say that they spent millions on the squad. You spent nearly 2 million on a left wing back, and where is he right now? Oh yeah, is he not in Belgium?
Correct. No, that's the striker. Playing striker.
Where's the left wing back?
I don't know.
Did you just sign him and send him off to, I don't know, fucking...
So we signed
Did you
Rocco
say-
Simic, who was
Send him off
playing
to-
for Salzburg last season in the Champions League, their main striker. We sign him and send him on loan
Did you send
to a
him
team
war-
struggling in Belgium.
Did you send him to a war camp? Because that's what's going to be at this rate.
Oh, probably.
POW
But-
camps for all the Cardiff players.
Oh, it's going to happen. Like, we've boosted out Ryan
Oh.
Winsel as well. I know we got him on a free transfer, but Bo was like,
Oh,
nope, we've had a
jeez.
bust up with you. You're going to Millwall. Don't even wish him well in the statement. And
Ow.
long story short, we've had enough as fans. We started the chants against Sheffield United on the weekend. We've set a date on the 18th before the South Wales derby for a protest.
Sounds about right.
You're going. We're getting rid of you.
You
And
need
there's
to
no
somehow
escaping it. The
get...
fans have had enough.
You need to get a new owner.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you need to get a new owner. But nobody seems bothered. It's mental. We said for a joke. I'd like to say, yes, Beale.
Oh my god.
You know what's even better? Actually, it's a shame. That's the only time you'll ever see Noel Edmond on a screen for the first time in years because he's walked away since I'm a Celebrity ruined him 2 years ago. He hasn't been on TV in 2 years. God bless Noel Edmond.
That's
What a
insane
man.
because what he
I know.
made of that show was incredible.
I don't mind the current version, but his version was gold.
Oh, it was
I love
iconic.
Noel Edmond. I love Noel Edmond. The guy's a genius.
I love
But-
Twitter AI. Thank you, Elon.
You mean Grok?
Sure, whatever.
But that's what it's called, Grok.
Let's just call Twitter X, shall we? If we're going to be
I mean-
pedantic.
I mean, we do, but unfortunately, the flaming application is called Grok, which I don't know why you'd call it that, but
It works so well, though.
it does. I mean, I've got
I
some
mean,
evidence
look
to prove
at
it.
it.
I've got some things to prove it.
Beautiful.
But what I was going to say in elements to Cardiff and all that is, we said it for a joke on here. Well, I said it for a joke, and then we all ended up agreeing on it, which says it a lot. But I said for a joke, just get Mike Ashley to be the new Cardiff owner.
Mhm.
But it's not that much of a joke. It's actually a fact that it would have worked.
Yep.
But Cardiff really do need somebody to come in and take over, because there's no turning back now. Like, there's no... And Vincent Tan has never once even tried to put the club up for sale, but he knows the fans hate him.
They're
They're not-
they're up for sale at the moment, but it's like unofficially. Do you know what I mean? It's basically
Yeah, he wants 300 million for the club. Bearing in mind, Newcastle was only bought for 100 million. United is obviously bought for a ridiculous amount.
And this is a team that hasn't been in the Premier League for 6 years.
And is
Like-
going to be in League One next season with what's
Exactly,
going on at the
so-
moment.
Exactly. So where's the 300 million valuation? Because let's be real, you're
How
not
much
even
is-
worth.
Put in apparently.
Hmm
I've put in more to my fucking FIFA hours than he's put in his entire financial market. See, when I look, I'm actually going to look at one thing. 2 seconds.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Yeah, there we go. So he wants 300 million, right? His net worth is 730 million. Let's be real. His net worth alone, he should be able to do better with Cardiff.
Bearing in mind, his net worth used to be about 3 or 4 billion as well.
Yeah.
God.
So how can he claim that he wants 300 million for Cardiff when, I'm sorry, Nathan, but your club is valued at 47.5 million euros?
Correct.
How can he want 252.45 million more?
Idiocy.
That is daylight robbery. That is robbery. Like, at one point, you know what's worse? Kieran Maguire, right? He valued your club at £223 million 4 years ago. Sorry, 5 years ago. And then 4 years ago, he valued your club at 75 million.
5 years ago, they'd just come down from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Plus,
so
not only that as well, at the start of that championship season, we were favourites to win the league as well.
And you'd
standing coming down.
Spent parachute payment money as well.
Yeah.
£150 million financial decline is what he valued the club at. 150 million down, which is frightening. Now you are worth 47 million, and that's in euros. So you're looking at about 43 million quid. Your club is fucked.
It is
100 million, even 125 million for Cardiff, where they are location based, the fan base. 125 million is actually enough. 100 to 125, I think we would all agree that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Question is, who's going to come and do that?
Well, interestingly, we've already had 5 bids, apparently. I don't know how true this is or not. This is coming off someone with insights the club, etc. on Twitter, but apparently we've had 5 bids for around 100 million from American investors, different American investors. Tan's turned them all down.
I think, you know what I will say? I will praise him for that. I'll praise him on this one time only.
Yeah.
I will praise him for turning down American investors. But if he gets a European or somewhere in Asia that wants to buy the club, it gives them the same money.
They've already got Asian investors. Look how that's turned out.
Like an Asian investor ain't going to take the piss. You know, like the guy who used to own Aston Villa. Like, he didn't take the piss. He just ended up selling up because he realised that he wasn't in football anymore. And he was loaded. He's like, you know what, I'm just not interested. I'm just going to sell up. Like, Aston Villa is one of the few clubs with American owners that's actually working. But you need something. The question is, what? I don't know.
What about someone Italian? In an ideal world, I'm not talking someone crazy like Leeds had 10 years ago. I mean,
well, Massimo.
He was a madman.
He still owns them.
Still owns who? Sorry, I didn't quite catch any of that.
That Massimo guy still owns Leeds.
I don't think he's like a major owner though. I think he's just got like a small percentage now.
Yeah.
Because 49ers.
Yeah, the 49ers do that as well, but he's still an owner, but not the owner.
But if you were Cardiff and what the Pozzos did with Watford to an extent.
Yeah.
If Cardiff were to partner with a club in Italy,
Cardiff have got the culture to do it.
What makes it worse though, as well, Tan has obviously investment in 3 clubs. You have Costa Rica in Belgium, who we sent Rocco Simic out to, and he also owns Sarajevo as well. Bearing in mind, Sarajevo were the biggest club in Bosnia, constantly getting into Europe. And in that time since Tan bought them, he's taken them out of Europe and he's put them into a lower mid-table side in Bosnia.
Yeah.
Costa Rica,
success has escaped.
Solid mid-table pushing into Europe Belgian side, relegation battle, and are now doing a protest the same time as us in January. And the Costa Rica fans are actually going to be coming over to Cardiff to join in the protest as well.
Nice. I think it says
I feel like an Italian would have, especially if it's someone who already owns a club in Italy, or he doesn't even have to be Italian, just has to be someone with that kind of link.
I think the Roma owners are the right ones to go around right now because they're looking at clubs in the Premier League as well.
I mean, they've already been signed off for Everton now, haven't they? So
is it actually been approved or did
Yeah,
it's
it
actually gone through. Yeah.
Well, I was going to suggest them then. I wasn't sure if it had gone through yet. That's why I was thinking them. But
But even then,
like,
they're American investors, are they not?
Mhm.
yeah, but they're doing all right for Roma, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know who actually would be a good shout for them, and this is what Cardiff need. Cardiff need a cutthroat. Even though he's an absolute psychopath, I would say De Laurentiis.
I'd take him.
What, from Napoli?
Yeah,
As in like in like a multi-club model kind of thing.
yeah. The guy's a psychopath, but the one thing he does more than anything else, he cares about his football club.
Mhm.
Like, he will hold on to a player that much because he values them that much. He doesn't want to look how long he kept Sergei Milinkovic-Savic for example, because nobody came to his valuation. Eventually, he let them go to Saudi because Saudi actually coughed up what he was looking for. Now, he is a little bit controversial, but one thing he does do is he knows how to back a football club financially.
Man, I think if we're talking backing, I think you've got to put Massimo Moratti in there somewhere. For what he did for Inter for a good while.
He quit. He quit.
I know he
3
quit,
times, so
but
he is an amazing owner, but he quit 3 times. See, if he hadn't been dead, I would have said Berlusconi, because he's still the greatest owner. But he's not. You know what the Premier League should do? Not the Premier League, but the English FA needs to let one owner come back to English football and let him take over Cardiff and just have fucking masterclass of it. Cardiff City should get Roman Abramovich just to piss off the Chelsea.
Can you imagine?
Just to piss off the Chelsea fans.
Abramovich is as cutthroat as it gets and just wants winning.
How funny would
I mean,
that
that's
be?
what we need. Like, that's
Like,
he fits the same model of what the fan base want. We just want
I mean,
to see victories and trophies.
I mean, it's
We don't care
cutthroat.
about style of play.
I mean, it is pure funny, but imagine this: they let him come back to
Meltdown.
They let him come back to football, and then Chelsea fans have got to witness Todd Bowley is still owning their club, whilst Cardiff are owned by Abramovich, and Abramovich is like, "Guys, we're just going to get a winner. We're going to spend 400 million on a fucking on a club. We're going to spend 400 million on the squad, and we're going to win the Premier League and we're going to win the Champions League." And Chelsea fans are going to have to sit there going, "Fucking hate Todd Bowley." Obviously, that is just dream scenario, but that would be it would be hilarious. Let's be real. It would be
mad. But the thing is, going back to like,
you need someone. You do
we
need
do.
someone rich.
That's
And
why I was
urgently as
mentioning
well.
someone from Italy, you know, or even from Spain, or someone with that multi-club kind of. Because I think what the Pozzos did, I think for a while worked because they brought in a certain caliber of player into Watford that Watford couldn't have pulled without that kind of link. And I feel like as Cardiff have a history of getting big names, still do, you know, big kind of franchisey names for the championship. Callum Chambers, ex-Arsenal, you know. I've always mentioned Josh King being a potential signing. They should go ex-Man United, the kind of thing Vincent Tan would play off. If they, I mean, obviously Reece knows Serie A better than I do, is why I was asking if Reece had to pick someone who owned a club, maybe further down the league.
There is, I would say, well, to be fair, you guys know who's the richest club in Italy?
Inter,
By ownership, who?
I think.
By ownership, who's the richest club in Italy? I
Is
guarantee
it Palermo?
it's not Palermo.
Because they're partly owned by City's owners.
They
Not
are.
them. Without Google searching, have a guess. You are on the right track, by the way. It is a lower level club in Serie A.
Is it
Is
Como?
It is Como. Their owner is worth $48 billion. The Jarum Group, they're Indonesian, Asian, but they are worth $48 billion.
And they don't have their fingers in any pies here, do they?
No, they don't. Football club wise, no, they don't. The Jarum Group are absolutely mental for funding.
See, that's what we need at the end of the day. Plus, not only that as well, I keep going on to this all the time. So we are probably the most attractive club to buy in both the Premier League and the Championship at the moment. Minus away the debt, you've got a Capital City club, You've got a fan base that's practically in hiding because they don't want to support the team. I know for a fact straight away when we get a takeover, we're going to be selling out weekly, and we're probably going to need a stadium expansion.
Especially because it's going to be that whole it's anyone but Vincent Tan.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, it's similar to what Newcastle had. It's anyone but Mike Ashley. So there's that big uplift of happiness.
Yeah.
And
I think it'll be bigger than Newcastle.
Crazy momentum.
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to be, it's very similar to it. Oh, here we go. But yeah, 47.2 billion is what we need. But at the end of the day, the way that the club's going, the guy's put us in managed decline, and he's got to go ASAP.
And they're the wealthiest family in the thing as well, by the way. Like, they're the richest, like, in there. But that as well. Most of their fortune came from that, though. Obviously, they've done even better since then, so they don't have to rely on that anymore. The mad thing as well is they are the richest club in Italy.
Who are the top 5 richest owners?
In Italy?
Yeah.
Well, he was one of them. Berlusconi.
I mean, after those, is it based around the big clubs?
Atalanta.
Mm-hmm.
The Atalanta
Atlanta's
owner.
an interesting one.
Yeah, the Atalanta owner.
Who owns Atalanta? Who runs them?
Check just now for you. I can't remember the name. It is I'm sure it's American football based as well. Yeah, Pagliuca and Percassi, yeah. Private equity investors and all that. He owns the Celtics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's got, so Pagliuca's got 55%, Percassi's got 45%, but they are
interested in acquiring more
well.
clubs. It says there that he has an interest in applying. I mean,
it's what he believes in. He believes in that, yeah, a multi-club football model. He was actually targeted for United once.
Hey, to be fair, an Atalanta and Cardiff coalition, that's not bad.
Oh my god, that'd be insane. Imagine the transfer links, Champions League. Oh,
that's your top 4 richest clubs in Italy. Como, Atalanta, Bologna, Cagliari.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected Cagliari at all.
If Cardiff get linked in some kind of if Cardiff have a takeover by any one of those 4, I think they'd be sound. Yeah. I feel like the bottom 2 are more realistic than the top 2.
Oh yeah, obviously the Milan clubs and Inter are still, Juventus are still owned heavy by their own separate families. But the problem for AC Milan is obviously it's owned by the Red Group, which is over $1 billion. But they're an equity investor. It's the same as Inter Milan. They've got the same thing, but obviously they've still got their key men in charge. Obviously Milan didn't. Milan chose to get rid of everyone because they're fucking foolish. The family that still owns Juventus, they'll never sell. I don't think they'll. The Agnelli family, yeah, they'll never sell. And to be fair, why would you? If you own the team that's won the most leagues in the country, why would you want to sell them? Especially because Juventus are always winning. Even when Juventus don't win, they don't go away for long. Like, it won't be long before Juventus are back to win the game, which is annoying. They're still unbeaten at home as well in the league. It's really annoying.
But yeah, bottom line, Tan needs to sell up.
Absolutely.
Honestly, bring on that protest on the 18th. Because I know the media is going to be there, and it's going to be before the South Wales derby. It's going to be like a derby level / what we were doing in 2014 size protest. I know it is, but apart from that, guys, do you have anything else to add?
Willie Collum's on ref watch.
Oh my god, yeah.
Bias or no bias, Celtic were lucky to win that cup final. How Rangers weren't given a penalty, I don't know. I know everyone's going to say, oh, but it's Rangers and penalties. I'm like, well, he's actually came out and said it should have been a penalty. So they were literally denied a trophy just because the FA are up Celtic's arse. Again, joke. Fonseca, hurry up and sack him so Allegri or Mancini gets the job. Maybe Sarri, I'll take it. Not Xavi. I don't want to see Xavi get the Milan job. He can piss off.
Xavi needs to stay at Barcelona for me.
He's not even there.
It's not even there.
He isn't. Oh my god. Goes to show how out of it I've been. Of course, it's Hansi Flick now, isn't it? Oh, I've had a stinker there.
I think it's funny that there's actually Milan fans online begging for the likes of Xavi to get the job, and I keep reminding them about the fact that it just does not happen. Milan don't win with a foreign manager. I was like, it needs to be either Allegri, Mancini, or Sarri. Mancini would be an interesting one, but I think it needs to be Allegri anyway. But Sarri would be an immediate thing, I think.
It's just at this point, it's anyone but Fonseca.
He needs to go. He so needs to go.
I don't think he's the only problem. I think the board need to do more to build a winning team, but I don't think they've got the right manager in place for that.
I think if Allegri or Mancini gets the job, for example, maybe Sarri, I think they'll all agree on one thing. And I think he's an incredible player, but I think Rafael Leao's time at Milan's coming to an end.
If I was the board, I would look to facilitate the move because it's still quite a hefty. They don't want to spend big. If you want to invest, you got to sell assets, and I feel like he is an asset worth selling, especially while his reputation is where it is right now. Because we talk about the United fans have this constant narrative about Marcus Rashford, or these narratives. One good season in 9, he's lazy, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. Rafael Leao is more relevant to that narrative than Marcus Rashford is. And I feel like Milan should not cut their losses, sorry. They should sell up, get big money for him and invest in the squad, invest in the team.
You could get 80 to 100 million for Rafael Leao, if not more, because of his age. Yeah, I think I love Rafael Leao, but I agree. I think he does, and I think you sell him, you could easily get 5-6 players into that squad, and you've already improved it. I think up front needs to be looked at as well. Apparently, Juventus want Tomori as well. Bastards. They've already signed Kalulu and they want Tomori. Can these bastards fuck off? Go and pillage some other club. Or better yet, Juventus, go fuck your mums.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I'm actually glad that they're looking to renegotiate Reihender's contract as well. He's been incredible for them this season.
Oh, he has.
Right, they gotta get that. I think if they get Allegri back in, Reihender's could be his Pjanic equivalent. Like the good passer of the ball, works hard player. I see that in Reihender's, to be fair. Not the set pieces, but the passing quality. I see that in him. And who knows, he might bring his diamond midfield back with him as well, which is badly missed at Milan. I think they need that 4 in the midfield, not 3. I don't think wingers are working at Milan anymore. I think they need to go back into a more narrow shape and get rid of Emerson Royale.
Definitely.
What I like with the idea of Allegri coming, I mean, to be fair, actually, I think with all those managers, these players have a way of fitting in. And I think what Allegri would bring as well is he might bring his 3 at the back formation as well that he had at Juventus the first time round. Because obviously he would change between 3 at the back and 4 at the back. And how the diamond.
I think he'll play the 4. I think he'll play the 4 that he did at Milan, which was that 4-1-2-1-2.
Yeah, I think predominantly we'll see that. But if he decides in certain matches to go with the 3, I would not be opposed to that.
Nor I. I'd be all right with that. Mancini would purely be 4 at the back, though, I think.
But what would Mancini do exactly? Because I feel like part of me would like to see that he had that kind of 4-2-2 formation he had at Manchester City.
I think he would either be a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. But the problem is Milan only have realistically one good 10, and he's one of their best wingers, and that's Pulisic.
Yeah.
They need to get a 10. Either that or they don't, and he plays a different way. The 3 might work. I'm just not sure. Even if Leao doesn't go, but Leao plays more of a wide 10, that might fix up more for him as well. But I'm not sure. I think it's going to get to the time where they need to cut the losses with him. Especially, weird thing about it as well, Juventus are still looking actively to let go of Vlahovic. If I was Milan in the summer, I would be all over that. Especially because Allegri loves Vlahovic. Imagine you get Allegri back and you go, what do you want? I need a new striker. Okay, Vlahovic, Morata up front. Done. You get a 10. Game over. Like, there's so many elements there.
Interesting. Do you have anything else to add, bud?
No, just go check out my new channel. Video premiering now as we speak. Support Reece and Nathan and their ventures as well, please.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, on to the next one.
Brilliant. On to the next one indeed. Anyway, everyone make sure to check out Julio's premiere. Obviously debuting now, so everyone get over to his channel. But aside from that, like, comment, subscribe. You all know what to do. Like us on Spotify, listen back in your car, whatever you want to do. But aside from that, have a fab Christmas, and we'll see you very soon. Have a good one, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy it.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.